live with another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. I have the usual suspect. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody out there. It's Kenoshi Abominito. Glad to be here on another cast.
Glad to have you. It's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. Glad to be on another. Glad to have another cast. Um, Life goes on. Let's get it started. So tonight we're doing a lot of looking back on what could have been or what was the way things used to be. So without much ado, let's dive into it. Apparently, this just came out. I just found this out today. We almost had a virtual console on the Switch.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to read the article, and I will. And I'm going to basically tell you what I think about it. And why this is why I feel that the argument against having a virtual console on the Switch was bullshit. Anyway, so here we go. This is an article from The Gamer, written by George Foster. It was published 3 days ago. All right, so a Nintendo data miner has reportedly uncovered evidence from leaked emails that indicate a virtual console was in the works for the Switch at one point, but got canceled due to being too costly. Those are quotes. Too costly is quotes. Although many gamers would argue that Nintendo is still a bit behind the times, it's changed a lot in the near decade since the Switch launched back in 2017. It's had a bit more focus on online gaming, branched out with more adult games, and even offered up some online services through a membership system, just like PlayStation and Xbox have done for generations. One of those services is Nintendo Switch Online, which is somewhat regularly updated with classic titles from the NES, SNES, Game Boy, and Nintendo 64. It's basically the Switch's version of the Wii, 3DS, and Wii U Virtual Console, but it's fair to say it's made nowhere near the impact that store did, and it's something players have been wanting back for some time. Okay, Nintendo was reportedly working on a virtual console for the Switch. Nintendo fans have wondered ever since the Switch launched why the console didn't end up getting a virtual console like its predecessors did. As it turns out, though, it seemingly was working on a similar store at one point in time. This is according to Luigi Blood, a data miner who runs Yakamono's blog and recently made a post about the discovery. According to Luigi Blood, the information comes from EK emails that were leaked not too long ago. These emails suggest that the Switch's virtual console was codenamed Clipper and started development at some point in 2015. The project was apparently being worked on between EK and M2, with Luigi Blood suspecting that Nerd also helped out at some point.
Wow.
Yeah. Sidebar, according to the email, starting a game on the Switch's virtual console in CRT mode would have resulted in a custom animation where a TV is turned on, suggesting that the more effort was put into it than you might think. The leaked email suggests that a lot of testing was done for the virtual console, with games like Final Fantasy, Mega Man, and Star Luster all being described alongside first-party games. Online functionality was also important for the games, with Nintendo even coming up with a fun shuffle idea that would make players swap controls every 30 seconds or so. So what went wrong? Well, according to an exchange between EK and Nerd, Clipper was canceled for the current approach because extensive testing for each emulator and platform was just too costly. Nintendo was also getting a bad rap for making players buy virtual console games over and over again whenever they moved to new platforms. The exchanges ended after 2018, but it seems that at the very least, Nerd's response to make it clear that Nintendo sees it as a long-term goal. We won't know for sure about that until we see what the Switch 2 does with Nintendo Switch Online, but it seems that Virtual Console dream might have died a long while ago. I call bullshit.
The retro dream, the end quote, the retro dream might have died a long time ago.
No, I call bullshit on the reason the reason it was costing that much is because
People were mad that they had to buy their games again.
yeah, people were mad they had to rebuy their games. I call bullshit.
Yeah, nobody was mad that because they offered the games at a lower price when they first re-released them on the Wii U, for one thing.
Yeah, so that argument
And all
doesn't
you
hold
had
water.
And all you had to do is, if you wanted to transfer your stuff over, you just had to pay a small fee, and you could transfer your stuff over.
Yeah, I
I
call
don't know what the
bullshit.
hell. Yeah, I agree with you.
I
I'm
call
not saying I
bullshit
disagree. Yeah, that is BS.
because The reason I call it bullshit is because, like, when you switched from the Wii to the Wii U, you had to pay like a small cost. It was like if you paid $4 or $5 for the game. For I think for SNES games, it was like $1 for NES games. Depending on the party, it was like between 20 cents to like 30 to 50 cents, something like that. And N64 was like $1.50, $2, which I mean that's reasonable, you know. So that's bullshit. Second of all, like you said, I mean, people weren't mad about it. No one was like, man, why I gotta pay 30 cents for this game? No, I personally think what the issue was that Nintendo realized, hey, we can get these dumbasses to get to pay a subscription fee for this shit in perpetuity. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And I know some people are going to get mad and they're going to be like, how could you say that? Why would you say that? Because it's true. Am I lying?
Yeah.
Did I say something that was factually incorrect with that statement?
No.
Okay, they figured, hey, we can get these gullible Nintendo fanboys to just take any goddamn thing because Nintendo fans will come up with any excuse when Nintendo is screwing them over. They will come up with any excuse not to not to hold Nintendo accountable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like Nintendo will do some shit that any other developer would do, and people be like, "Oh man, that's foul." And Nintendo fans will be like, "Oh no, that's not that bad." Look, I'm having fun with it. So as long as I had fun with it, it doesn't matter. you know? Have you noticed that in gaming with Nintendo fans or just in general, not just Nintendo fans. Like, let's say hypothetically speaking, you talk about predatory pricing in MMOs or an online or a cell phone game, right? People are like, this is predatory. This is not good. Well, I'm having fun with it. It's like that's not the point.
Yeah.
Look, you having fun with something is not the point. The point is that you're supporting something that the company is doing fucked up shit with. And you should, like, as long as I'm having fun with it, it's good. Well, you should hope that the company treats you that way. That they're like, as long as our customers are having fun with it, it should be a good product. But they don't care about that. They like the virtual console was you paid for it once and they had to continuously add content to it for people to keep on paying into it. Whereas if you get the subscription fee, you're there in perpetuity because you lose access to that shit if you don't pay the $20 or $50 or $75, whatever tier you're paying for a year.
Yeah.
And people get mad when you mention that. They're like, "Oh, how dare you? Why'd you say that?" But I think that's a valid. I think that is a valid argument. Do you, or do you think you know? Agree,
Yeah.
disagree, don't care.
Yeah, I agree. I just hope that well, it's probably not going to happen.
No, they're,
It's
they're
not
not going
going
to
to
bring
happen.
because they've made too much money on these people who are like, you know, the fan the gaming the Nintendo fans who are like, well, it doesn't bother me, so I don't care. It's like this company isn't paying their employees a decent wage. I don't give a fuck. You know, as long as I get my product, I don't care. You know, it's like people are literally being fucked over. I don't care as long as I get to play my shit. You know, that is... gamers are gamers are some of the most non-critical thinking people. You know, they don't like gamers don't like using critical thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, if you tell, hey gamer, use critical thinking. No, I just want to play my games. I'm like, yeah, I want to play games too, but I also want to not have my hobby get destroyed. You know? Because the same thing that's happening with games right now happened to the movie industry. You know, where people didn't hold people accountable for bullshit. So we got worse and worse movies. You know?
Yeah.
Same thing. It did not change. Like, people wonder, why do we keep on getting sequels? Because people didn't support new shit when it came out. You know, if you don't support new shit, you can't be surprised when it fails. Or at least that's my takeaway. I mean, to each his own. But what do you think? Agree, disagree, don't care?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the movie industry is like, they were making so much money with slop for the longest time, and like people were eating it up,
Yeah, people
and
just
then
accepted it.
when you need a triple bypass surgery, and oh, okay, when you need a triple bypass surgery and you're about to have a heart attack, and your organs are failing because you've been eating too much shit your whole life, eventually people get tired of eating shit, and now they have to figure out. Oh, well, I guess we gotta stop feeding people bullshit.
No, no, no. These gamers today, they keep on taking it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I'm going to use Nintendo as an example because we're talking about Nintendo, right? Now, fishing mini games in Nintendo have been in Legend of Zelda have been a thing for years. Like, it started on the Link's Awakening, and Link's Awakening had the fishing mini game. Then they had that in a lot of other games, handheld, like the portable games and the home console games. Then we get Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. There is no fishing in that game. I know some people say, well, you can bomb the fish in the water. It's not the same thing. The Switch has 3D Rumble. They call it haptic. It's really haptic feedback, but it's basically, they came up with some new name for it because they wanted to make it sound cool. It's 3D Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? You know what Nintendo did with what they did? Like, they basically, Nintendo put 3D Rumble in Mario Odyssey. Remember Mario Odyssey when you went to that island, to those islands,
Yeah,
those
yeah, with soda
the
pop level
yeah,
or
the
the
soda
spark.
pop thing, and you put Mario goes into the water, and you can literally, it feels like you can feel the bubbles and shit. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
this is amazing. Imagine if you made if you had fishing in a Legend of Zelda game, like you could feel the fish like biting at the thing, and you knew when to do. Man, that'd be amazing. They did fuck all with it.
yeah, yeah. That's the problem with Nintendo. Is they like to have these gimmicks and then they don't really use them. So,
I mean, they didn't do a goddamn thing with it. It was like y'all just don't want to make money, do you? It's like money. I don't want to make money. Bro, we just want to do our own thing and fuck everybody else who wants to do something different. To hell with you. That should be Nintendo's new mantra. We'll do whatever we want and to hell with you.
yeah,
And if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. That should be Nintendo's mantra. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself. I know that. I know. I shouldn't have said that. I'm being an asshole. But you know, it's the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. It's the truth, man. You know, they've done fuck all of nothing to really expect. You know, just they got lazy. They re-released Donkey Kong Country Returns. I don't think that's a very good game. I know some people like it. I'm like, it's not that good. Tropical Freeze is better. Not much better, but it's better. It's a better game.
yeah, yeah.
But you know, hey man, enough about that. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic?
Uh, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that would be interesting because I'm like, oh, well, it's too expensive. I'm like, as much fucking money as you've made on the Switch and y'all couldn't afford to do that shit? Fuck you. Y'all just lying. That's just them blatantly lying to our faces. All right, so Avowed. Avowed is the latest game that's come out from it's coming out next month. And it's from Obsidian. Yes, that Obsidian. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting excited for this game. Um, so there's multiple versions coming out as per usual. There's a premium, a standard, and a premium upgrade. So it's not too wild. The premium gets you it is $90. It comes with hordes of extra shit coming out for people who like this game. Okay, here's what you get. You get the base game. You get 5 days early access to Avowed. So you're paying. You're basically the beta tester. You get 2 sets of skins for each companion. You get the digital art book. You get the original soundtrack. It's not bad.
Yeah.
You know, really, that's not bad. I think the digital art book and the soundtrack, if the soundtrack's really good, might be worth it alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good once it coming out.
Uh, Avowed. Let me see. It should be coming out. Here, let me look it up. I know it's in February. Here, let me look at Avowed release date. There we go. February 13th. So that Thursday before Valentine's Day. Look, man, if you got a girlfriend, don't get this game. don't get this fucking game and be like, you know what I'm talking about? Don't get this game and be playing this game and not paying attention to your girl.
Yeah.
You know, she gonna be like, oh. Although if you have a girlfriend or whatever your sexual orientation is, if you have a significant other and they're like, oh, you just play video games all the time, and then they go and cheat on you or do some revenge shit, that's not someone you need to be with anyway. Because here's the thing: everyone needs to have an outlet that doesn't involve your significant other. Not that you're cheating or messing around or anything, but you need to do other shit that, like, even if and that's all your loved ones. That's people you're romantically linked with. That's your kids, parents. You don't have to do everything with your fucking kids. Okay, get a babysitter. Leave your kids home and take you and your wife or you and your significant other or you or your spouse. Y'all go out and do a date night. Okay. You don't need to be mommy and daddy all the time. That's it. That's all I had to say. They also have the standard edition is, you know, this is the price creep we're getting in gaming. The standard edition for Avowed is $69.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's going. I knew we were fucked when Tears of the Kingdom was $70. I was like, Nintendo's doing it too, so we're all fucked. It's gonna be the new standard. You know, I didn't want it to be, but that's the world we're living in.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You know, do I want to pay? Do I want to pay exorbitant amounts of money for games? Actually, to be fair, like, everyone's like, "Oh man, this is so expensive." I'm like, you do realize that, like, games used to be, like, back in the day, like way back in the day, games were more expensive. Like, SNES games weren't $60. Like, the $60 thing came about during the, like, really during the 6th and 7th gen, really. Cause, like, I remember Earthbound being like, that game was expensive. You know, people don't remember that shit, but Earthbound was like that. I think that game retailed for a very expensive price when it first came out.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of those games on the Super Nintendo retail for a lot.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger was $70, I think, when it first came out.
No, it was more than that, depending on where you were.
Yeah.
Like it was not like the thing. People are like, oh man, this game. It's like the $60 thing is something relatively new because games used to be more expensive. Like games have only gotten cheaper over the last they got cheap and now they're creeping up again. But the reason they're creeping up again isn't because the companies are greedy, although, not I mean, how can I put this nicely? That's not the only reason they're getting more expensive. They're getting more expensive because um games are getting more expensive because people don't understand that games are getting more expensive because develop gamers have gotten these next gen consoles, and the publishers and the publishers are like, look, you need to push better, more life graphics and 2K, 4K, and that's expensive. Those assets, it is more expensive to render a game in high definition than it is to render it in like 2K and 4K than it is to like do 1080p.
Yeah.
And gamers are like, look, man, I mean, I personally can't afford. Well, that's not true. I have disposable income, but I'm tired of spending all this money. You know what I mean? It's getting to be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting to be too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, they went up the price, and they up the price through DLC and season passes and all that other stuff too. So it's like $70 one time purchase. Then if you want the entire game, you got to pay like $200 for it.
I mean, how can I put this? I personally, and I know this is going to sound a little weird. I'm not. It's. I would rather pay a larger amount up front and not have people nickel and dime me after the fact, which is what we've been getting.
Yeah.
Like, you want to charge a lot of money? Cool, charge it. But do me a favor and stop nickel and diming me with prices after the fact.
Yeah.
Which is what they've been doing. Just straight up nickel and diming the shit out of people. It's like, oh yeah, we can give you this. It's gonna be an arm and a leg though. I'm like, man, why are you charging people all this damn money? And I mean exorbitant amounts of money. Like, almost like, okay, so y'all don't care about nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just want to. I don't know. I mean, greed. It's such an easy way to just lean on greed. I mean, it's definitely that's definitely an element to it. I think I think it's fairly big element, but I also think it's also development costs
Yeah,
have gone up significantly as well.
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's partially
Yeah,
greed and it's partially, you know, it's partially greed and it's partially they just want to spend a lot of, they just want to, it's expensive to make games these days because no one wants to, it's a vicious cycle. Everyone wants realistic well, a lot of gamers want realistic graphics. You know, they're like, I want to see the pores on their skin. I'm like, why? Why would you want to do that? But whatever. And if you want to see those types of graphics, it's expensive because they got to render that shit.
yeah,
They got to have more. They have to have expensive ass hardware. They have to have people who know how to use the codes, who know how to code that shit. They have to have Q&A to make sure the game doesn't fall apart once people are playing it. And it's just it's a never ending cycle of bullshit.
yeah.
And gamers are, you know, gamers are not in a position to be able to say anything about it. That's all I'm gonna say. They're we just got to deal with this shit, for lack of a better term. Come hook or crook, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be this way, but that's the world we live in, you know? So, anyway, enough about that. Let's move on to the next topic. If you don't have anything else to add, Retro Runback, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Now, people may remember this series. It was basically a Diablo clone, except instead of set in a dark, fantastical universe, it was fucking Marvel characters. So Spider-Man, Wolverine, the Hulk, going around beating the shit out of people, which is always fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was during the slim age when we had good Marvel video games. Because for the longest time, we had shit Marvel video games. Like, I would say we had decent Spider-Man video games from the 5th gen, into the 6th gen, into the 7th gen, into the 8th gen, into the 9th gen. Like, Spider-Man games have been consistently good from the 5th gen. But, like, the X-Men games, most of them were trash. And don't get me started on the Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but back in the day, Raven Software, which made a lot of good games back in the day, They made one of the best Wolfenstein games of the modern era back in the day. Better than some of the shit we get out of Bethesda these days.
Yeah.
But they also made X-Men Legends, which was itself a Diablo clone that was kind of heavily inspired by Marvel Ultimate Alliance. They tried to bring it back, Nintendo did, with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, but the problem with that game, having played it now, is that it's on the Switch and it runs like ass. Because the Switch is... I hate to use this because people said it for years and I didn't like it. The Switch is old, dead and buried hardware that just doesn't... It's too old to run certain shit. And I know some people are going to get mad. They're going to be like, oh, why'd you say that? It's the truth. And I know Nintendo fans are going to get mad when they hear that. They're going to be like, how could you say that? It's the truth. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. The Switch's hardware is holding it back. And everyone knows this. Nintendo knows it. You know, if you don't think Nintendo doesn't know that the Switch's hardware problems aren't holding it back, I don't know what to tell you except you're gullible. And easily fooled. Cause they know that console. They know like anyone who's played Switch games knows there's certain games on the Switch, especially like it used to be just third-party games, but we've seen it happen with first-party games as well, where there's games that like this game runs like shit. And you mention that to people, and they're like, "Oh no, that's no." It's like no, first-party games that aren't running well. I remember playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I was like, "Oh my god, this runs like ass." That's why even though I really like Xenoblade Chronicles X, the re-release on the Switch, I guarantee will probably run worse than the one on the Wii U.
Yeah.
You know, I would be surprised if it didn't. Let me put it that way. Okay? I would be very surprised if I would be very surprised if the Switch games on the a lot of the ports they're doing to the Switch from the Wii U that they did on the Wii U, like, let me put it this way: games from last gen shouldn't be running worse on new gen hardware.
Yeah.
And yet there are games that, like Wonderful 101 on the Switch runs worse than Wonderful 101 did on the Wii U.
Yeah, that is pretty bizarre.
And that's not a very intense game. You know, it's not like, oh my god, look at all this shit going on. It's just the system's weak. The hardware is old and broke down and busted. And people gonna get mad when they hear that. They're gonna be like, how could you say that? It's the truth. It's the freaking truth, man. If you can't figure out that the Switch's hardware is kind of old and can't really, it's kind of old and knackered out. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it should be fairly obvious that the Switch's hardware is old and knackered out. You know, I shouldn't have to tell you this. Oh, it's broken. It's old and busted. You know, you say that to people, they get angry. They're like, "Oh, how could you say that?" It's the truth, though. I mean, to be honest with you, the Switch's hardware was old and knackered out when it came out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was old when it released.
You know, and I don't mean like, you know, one of the thing, you know, the sad thing about modern gamers, like gamers that just started gaming in the 8th and ninth gen, they will never understand how it was back in the day where hardware would come out and the initial games would be kind of, you know, simple. And then as developers got used to the hardware and learned development tricks, they would push that hardware to do things that you never thought were possible. Modern gamers will never understand that.
Yeah.
They will never understand the joy of playing games and seeing people push the hardware and do amazing things. Like, modern gamers will never have that Resident Evil 2 moment that we had on the N64, where everyone's like, "Oh, it's impossible for this game to be on a cartridge. This needs to be on a disc." And Nintendo was like, "Okay, go ahead. We gave this to a port studio." And they released Resident Evil 2 on the N64, and arguably that's the best version of that game.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for the same thing goes for what's it called? Shit. Um, the same thing goes for fuck, I forgot the name of it. Go like Gauntlet Legends. Gauntlet Legends came out on 3 platforms. It came out on the Dreamcast, the PlayStation, and the N64. Arguably, the N64 version of the 5th gen consoles is the best version of that game. The PlayStation version is terrible. I mean, it is utter and complete dog shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it is bad. So bad. Like it's really fucking bad. Like it's like, oh, how could this be this bad? Oh, it can be that bad. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't talk about that. But enough about that. We gotta we gotta go to the next topic. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic, sir?
No.
All right.
Mm,
Tim Kaine, the guy who helped create Fallout and Fallout 2, um, he was one of like the lead designers on it and directors. Uh, he dusted off some old photos of people back in the day working at the Interplay studio, at the Interplay offices, playing, looking all chill. He showed off some of the models they used for the original Fallout, some of the animatronic, some of the claymation things for the mutants and characters, and it looks pretty nice. The link is in the description. If you guys can take a look at it. It's pretty cool stuff. It just goes to show that game development used to be kind of fun. People used to, yeah, it's serious. It's your job, but people also used to have fun with it, and we don't get that anymore because these days everyone's a bitch about game development, and it's treated as it's very business oriented and not fun. You know, which is sad because if you don't have fun on your job, I'm not saying it has to be fun all the time, but if there's no joy at all, that's a shit job. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If there's absolutely no joy, nothing fun, nothing interesting, then why work there?
Yeah.
I mean, my rule of thumb is if yeah, my rule of thumb is if I'm not getting anything interesting going on with my stuff, like if I don't have any joy in my job, I need to find a new job. It's time to go. Now I'm not saying it's going to be fun all the time because that's an unrealistic expectation. But if you don't have any joy with your job, like zero, none, like you roll out of bed and you're like, fuck, I gotta go here again. I gotta deal with these fucking people.
Yeah.
It's like you're sitting there looking across at customers or whoever you're working with. You're like, these motherfuckers. Maybe you might need to find a new job. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the final bit of the cast?
Uh, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that hate their jobs that wake up, deal with these, deal with these people.
Yeah, it's like, I gotta deal with these fucking people again. I don't. I mean, I've been there. Look, man.
I think we've all been there at least a few times.
I'm gonna keep it 100%, man. When I had my own business, there was a point where I was just like, I am tired of dealing with these fucking people.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. You can go fuck yourself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You
I
already have. Yeah, people. people think life is easy street when they finally have their own business and they get to be their own boss. Not always. There's new challenges that arise. there
Yeah,
are no there are no solutions. There are only trade offs.
that is true. I mean, there's a point in your life where, like, I'm not saying everything you do is going to be fun. That's like I said, that's an unrealistic expectation. What I am saying is while everything can't be fun, you can do things to kind of, make life a little bit better for yourself.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit better for yourself. That's all I'm saying. But, what do I know? I'm just some guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about that. Anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
No.
All right.
I
So,
put out a. Oh, are you? Oh, the last topic.
yeah, I was just going to roll into the last little bit where I was just going to pimp out something I'm doing. Well, a
Oh,
new
okay.
little something. So, unpopular opinion is one of my favorites, and I have my own unpopular opinions all the time where I'm like, oh, I gotta talk about this. So my unpopular opinion, my unpopular opinion is it's not really an unpopular opinion. It's just me announcing something. I am gonna start a new thing where I will be a new video series called Unpopular Opinion, where I will take an unpopular opinion within gaming, and I'm just gonna fucking go to town.
Yeah.
Talking about shit that bothers me, or just general malaise, if you will. And I think that'll be fun. Um, Some people might disagree, but to each his own. So with that being said, that's just my opinion. Uh, so that's going to be a fun little thing to bring up. I hope people will enjoy it once it starts to grow out. I'll probably record some footage and drop the first one. It'll be something that can drop when I'm unable to do whatever. The first one's going to be my unpopular opinion about a particular movie, and I'll go why I think that it's all overrated and not very good. And I would enjoy people watching that and maybe giving a dialogue on whether they agree, disagree, or why they might, maybe my argument brought them over. So with that being said, that's it. Got nothing else to say. Anything you want to pimp out, sir?
Yeah. I just released a new song. Life Under the Red Sun. A Journey to the Haunted Factory. Check it out. You get a
All right.
chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is that Superman related?
Uh,
I mean, you
no,
said Life Under Red Sun. I'm like, God damn.
but usually let people let people use their own imaginations when they listen to my
Interpret,
music.
have their own
Yeah,
interpretation.
for their own interpretation. Yeah,
All right. Okay. Okay. All
like
right.
give
Okay. All right.
yeah, I like giving a title and letting people use their imagination,
Okay.
what they see in it. Yeah,
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you're growing your channel, doing new things. I'm happy. I'm happy for that. Like I said, oh, I will be going on vacation the first 2 weeks of February. So my birthday and Valentine's Day, I will not be available. That's gonna be fun.
Oh,
You
you get.
guys, what?
Oh, so you have uh, are you going with your new girlfriend?
No, no.
Oh.
Like I said, I started a new job, but I got to bid for my vacation time, and I had leave saved up from when I worked for the government before, and because I worked 3 years, so I got to keep my seniority and all my annual leave and all that shit. So I was like, yeah, shit, yeah, I'll take the first 2 weeks of February. So I got it. So I will be on vacation for 2 weeks, and that's gonna be fun. Um, so I will not be available. Oh, and I was able to get a bevy of comp time. So instead of me having to use 80 hours of my annual leave, I only use 16. So that was nice. Literally only 20% of my leave that I had to use for my vacation. So yeah, good for me. That being said, that's the end of the cast. If you guys have anything you want to pimp out, um, you can. I will not be having a cast for the first 2 weeks of February, so we will have a cast the 22nd, the 29th, but no cast the 5th or the 12th of February, okay? So
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
actually, you know what? No, if actually I might be able to have it. I will have a cast on the 5th because even though I'm taking 2 weeks, I'm not leaving until the 9th. So I will February. So I will I can do a cast that day. And since I'm bringing my computer that Wednesday, I can do a cast that Wednesday because I'm going to be in a hotel with Wi-Fi and shit like that. So yeah, I can still do a cast.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to Universal Studios, so I'm like, stay in a nice hotel. I I haven't booked it yet, but I'm thinking I'll probably do a nice hotel. Like I either do the Universal Boardwalk where the hotel is like right there, you just walk out and just walk out to the rides, or I can do the just stay in a nice hotel off site and just drive up there.
Yeah.
It depends. Anyway, that's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, play your games. You pimped out what you were going to pimp out. I pimped out what I was going to pimp out. Oh, we have a cast every Wednesday unless something happens. So we'll be having a cast. I thought we weren't going to do it, but I looked at my schedule. I can do it. We'll be having a cast next in the first 2 weeks of February. So it starts between 7:30, goes for an hour. If you guys would like to be part of the channel, like part of one of our casts, have topic suggestions, questions you'd like answered, you can reach me via Gmail at mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com or Discord. The link is in the description. Peace. Good night.
All right, man.